Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sea Live podcast. My name is Sam, and as always, I have my trusted friend and podcast sidekick, Mr. Christopher Vance. How you doing, mate?
Hey, how are you, mate? Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been a good... Well, it's gone quick. I was literally saying to you only yesterday that we haven't really talked. No.
I was just saying that I haven't heard from you much this week. I don't know. I feel like Laurel and Hardy's just split off.
No, we're busy, aren't we? We forget how much we can pack into this week, especially with us. You know, obviously you working on your house and me working and doing little bits and bobs for the site, etc. While we're here talking about the site, go and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On Facebook, we are at Sea Live. Make sure you're sharing this podcast video with all your friends and family. On Twitter, we are at Sea Live Enter1, and also on Instagram, we are at Sea Live UK. But enough about that. Let's get on to our podcast guest for this evening. He is a comedian and is probably, without doubt, one of the UK's most unique comedians. It is Mr. Gary Skyner!
Hey! You okay?
Over.
I'd clap back, but it's impossible, but never mind.
Now, how are we doing, Gary? What are we up to?
Right, thanks very much, yeah. Just cheesed off like everybody else with the situation we're all in, but we're alive. That's the main thing. We're alive and kicking, and there's a new plant been discovered now that saves you from COVID-19. It's plant your ass on the couch and don't go anywhere else. And at 20 odd stone, I'm quite happy with that.
It didn't take long, did it, Chris? It didn't take long.
I thought it'd take. In fact, I thought it'd take quicker than that, to be honest.
Yeah, the bet.
No bets. So, Gary, have you been writing new material during lockdown? These 3 lockdowns, have you been writing much new stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's just been a lot of government stuff, hasn't there? And I mean, the one thing that really presses me off over it, and it's a stupid thing, but every time Johnson, I mean, you lads, how old are you?
Well, go on, Sam.
I'm 25.
25, Chris?
I'm slightly older. I'm 38.
Are you 38? Yeah, okay. Sam's 25, you 38. I'm 61, just turned in November last year. And if I went out the house with my hair looking like Boris Johnson, my granddad would have thrashed me. He would have absolutely kicked the arse off me and said to him, "You are not going out looking like that." You know, this is a fella who's putting a persona out there. He's running the country with an iron fist, and you know, I'm going to get us out of this. You know, and it's let's do Brexit, let's stay at home, save lives. The fella can't even find a comb for his head. What is that all about? I just don't get that. I just really, honestly, I feel like grabbing him and shaving it all off. Or same with Trump. I think, you know, who in their right mind walks down with a Weetabix on their head 24 hours a day? And it's the most powerful man in the world. That's a load of crap. Just don't get it. You know, but the whole concept, the whole thing is just insane. You two lads hopefully will never ever see anything like this again. I've had 61 years of I would say being a Liverpool fan, bliss. You know, apart from having a 9-inch left arm and a 14-inch right and 4 fingers on each hand and no thumbs. Apart from that, everything in the garden's been rosy. No, it hasn't. I've been in hospital for 14 years of my life, you know, for 4 weeks. But I've never known anything like this. It's just scary. It's beyond scary. It's, you know, and the conspiracy theories don't help either, you know.
What's the maddest one you've heard, Gary? Conspiracy theory about anything in general or COVID generally?
Yeah, I'm coping great. Just this one mate of mine is just... He told me last week that the Pope's doctors died of COVID. Now, honest to God, and the Pope has been arrested. And the Pope is in prison, and no, seriously, he's telling me the Pope is in prison, And obviously they're going to jab him in prison, because I got something online last night that said Pope Francis will be given his COVID-19 injection this week. So obviously it'll be at Weymouth Scrubs or wherever they've got health come on. But it's just, yeah, and then he's telling me it's power cuts imminent, internet imminent shutdown, And I just started winding them up now, and sending him pictures of things where his predictions haven't come true. Apparently Trump is going to go on another 4 years, and it's the biggest scam. Everybody's in on it. You're in on it, you two. You're broadcasting stuff. And oh yeah, that's anyone who's in the lying bastardos. I mean, I've got a green card for being disabled. What's his excuse? Rappers.
So, as obviously he's keeping you busy with this, what else have you been doing then? Obviously, I mean, writing material, and then can you see a part of this being a major part of your act coming out when we?
Unbelievable amount. I mean, when I said to you before, I've got there's the arms for anyone to say. I was a victim of the thalidomide tragedy. So imagine the first gig when I walk out on stage, if I ever walk out on stage again. And the opening line will be, no matter what time of the year it is, lovely to see everybody. It's so nice to be working so soon after Christmas. Even if I start working in June, that'll be true. And then, don't you laugh, Alan, because you stared at my disability. My arms are the same length as yours until I was told by the government to wash them 24 hours. And they've just worn away. They've worn away. That's it. They've gone, So there's a million and one things, like with me being overweight as well. So I've got to exercise social distancing from my fridge. And stuff. I'm addicted to the fridge, and I've got a problem with my feet. They're always in the fucking larder. There's a million. Honest to God, there's a million and one things. I'm looking forward to sitting and waxing lyrical when we actually get the green light to go on stage again.
I think get the green lights one day soon. Hopefully. It'll be sooner than later, because we've got to see this material live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then it'll be that crap, you'll see it dead. There's somebody in front now will jab me with a black COVID-19 jab.
And then charge you 160 quid.
Yeah. But that's life, as Frank Sinatra said.
Where did... As comedy, what was your inspiration, or what was the motive?
I think that's a double-edged question, that a double-edged answer, in so much as that I think everyone expects someone who's severely disabled to walk around with a frown, and I didn't want to be known as Gary the disabled kid. I wanted to be known as Gary the funny kid, the happy-go-lucky kid. The kid who'd try anything. And as my book, it is getting a plug in already. My book's entitled You Won't Now. If I had a fiver for every time somebody had said to me during my life, you can't and you won't do that, I'd be a very wealthy man. And it's a case of other people pigeonholing me and telling me what I can and can't do in life that has inspired me to do what I've done. Particularly my dad was to be honest with you, he was a prick. He was an absolute prick, because he just, whether it was reverse psychology, I don't know. But I do a gag about, I actually took some flying lessons, and the gag is that I was on a plane going to Benidorm. I said, when you go into America on a long-haul flight, 10 hours, you always get some inconsiderate bastard having a heart attack halfway across the Atlantic. and they're always shouting for a doctor or a nurse. But when you go into Benidorm, 2.5 hours, up, down, shake it all around, no drama. 6 years ago, I got the call I've been waiting for all my life. I'm on my way to Benidorm, EasyJet, and the girl comes on and goes, boom, boom, ladies and gentlemen on board, has anybody got any flying experience? And I went, oh, what can do you, mate? Boom. So she's come down the aisle to my light, and as she's got closer to me and seen what I look like, she leant across the seat to me and she whispered to me, she said, are you taking a fucking piss? I said, no. I passed my private pilot's license in 2004. I keep it in my wallet. I'm very proud of it. What can I do for you? She said, well, keep it down. But the pilots and the co-pilots have collapsed. We think they've got food poisoning and we've got nobody to land the plane. So I said, well, I'm your man. Take me to the cockpit. So I'm undone my seatbelt to go with her. And just as I've gone to stand up, the fella who's been sat by me by the window for the last 2.5 hours stands up and grabs the stewardess by the arm. And he said to her, just let me get this fucking straight. He said, you are going to let him fucking land this? She said, well, he's our only hope. What's your objection? He said, I've had to put his milk and fucking sugar in his coffee. But that sort of sums it up.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the plane let go on.
When it comes up the swear box, then you've won.
you've won so far.
Yeah.
No, God. So how did this flying come about then? You just
really, I don't know whether you've heard of a Liverpool. He's from the Whittle, a lad called Alan Bates, who's a hypnotist. He's Alan Bates, and he worked along with, God rest his soul, Derek Accorder in past life regression stuff. And we worked out in Dubai. We did a tour in Dubai, and these pilots with Emirates, with British Airways it was, and it was in this magazine called What's On in the North, in the Middle East. And the stewardess come down and said, you're the two lads that are working on this thing that's in the magazine. We didn't know we were in the magazine. And this lad said, do you want to come to the cockpit and have a look at this is long before 9/11. This was, well, not long before 1999. So we went up to the cockpit and he's just ordinary Cockney lads, pilots. And he said, we're down here for 3 days and we're flying you back to Bahrain for the next stage of the tour. So we said, can we come to the show? So we said, yeah, we'll get you in, no problem. So we got them in and got them free ale all night. So they were had another 48 hours before they flew again. And they were absolutely wrecked. Absolutely wrecked because it was for free. And they said, right, you've done us a favour, we'll do you one. And what they did was they sat us in the jump seats behind the main seats on the plane. We went on a big 777 for takeoff. Wow. And they went, because we shouldn't have been in there. And this Arab voice comes in and goes, hello, BA 737, are you okay for takeoff? And he went, yeah. He said, and he looked at his mate and he went, should we go? And he went, yeah. And he went, and this thing just, like green, red and white lights just turned into darkness. And I thought, I'm having a bit of this. I've got to learn how to do this. This is great. And then I was a bit pissed off when the Cessna I was in went up at about 25 miles an hour. But apart from that, the sensation of flying was great. It was absolutely great. And just, unfortunately, didn't continue with it because of the cost. But it's something else that I've achieved in life that I can say I've took the plane off the floor. I've got a certificate to say that I've done a few. I've flown, and that's it. And it's great. People don't believe.
Well, that's it. Because I've never done anything like that. Sam knows that I'm not the greatest flyer, don't you, Sam?
No, not the greatest. Flyer.
So, but I'll go on a plane. But what's it like on one of those little light ones? Is it scary?
If you look at the if anyone wants to check out my credentials, anyone that's watching, if you just put in YouTube Gary Skyner flying after we've been on, if you'll see a sequence where, and again I'm giving away state secrets here, but the civil aviation don't allow anyone to go in with someone who's learning. But the producer, a woman producer, a lovely girl, who said, "No, I want to feel absolutely everything that's going on." And so we said, "We're going to have to put a blanket over your head because we've got cameras on the dashboard of the plane looking at me, the shooter." So I said, "If that picks you up, we're in serious trouble, you know."
Bloody hell.
So if you ever look at the sequence on there, you'll see this sack behind me and behind me and Norman, the instructor, and it's puking up. When we actually landed, she was covered in puke. You know, it was a rock and roll, what they call a rock and roller day. You know, a lot of turbulence, right up that high, but it's fantastic. The peace and quiet up there, and you know,
My
especially if you don't take your boyfriend up with you, you know.
My cousin's training to be a pilot at the moment, and he said they're just like flying lawnmowers.
Yeah,
Those little ones.
It's scary. It really is. When you think that propeller at the end of the bonnet, if that packs in, you pack it. Simple as. It's end up. No if, buts, or maybes. Good night. Adios, amigo.
And so obviously you obviously took it up and took it down. I don't think I'd have the. Could you do that, Sam? I can't do that.
I've been in one. My uncle used to fly. I think he only had like 1 or 2 lessons, and he would have got his full pilot license. I don't think I could do that. It's the idea of parachuting as well, like, because if you're up there, like, and like if something were to happen, like, you've got a parachute out there, and I can't even think of doing parachuting even.
That you do not get the luxury of a parachute, let me tell you. It's just straightforward. The technician hasn't done his job right. You're on your way.
Yeah. You see, and that's my one. When you, Gary, eventually go on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, you can. I wouldn't be. That's the only thing I wouldn't do on that show is be parachuted, knowing they jump out the plane.
Well, I'd jump out the plane, but I think my current weight, I would probably it would probably destroy the castle in Wales. There'd be nothing left of the castle. It'd be like Van Wallace's original bouncing bomb. I just think I'd hit the wall, and that would be no castle.
Would you ever do something like that, Gary? Would you ever do it if I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here came knocking? Would you?
I'd love that, because they always put disabled people in who aren't that noticeable, if you know what I mean. There was a girl in this year, I think she had one arm, or she had the deformed arm, which is restrictive, but it's not as restrictive as mine. You know, I mean, my girlfriend said to me, she said, "You couldn't go on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because if you went without food for like at least 3 weeks, you would eventually eat all the other contestants." I think she's right. Yeah.
So that's a no. That's a no then.
Yeah. But I'd love to do it. I mean, I'm not scared of spiders. I'm not scared of rats. I'm not scared of anything really. Maybe I'm just a bloody idiot, where I am, but I'm just not scared of rodents and things like that. It just doesn't worry me. A rat comes past me, I'll stand on its head, or I'll crush a beetle, or roll the kill a wasp.
Anything on that except the parachute.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it.
Well,
that's all. What about you, Sam? Would you go on it?
Yeah. It's too good enough money, isn't it? Like some of the zeros and 6-figure salaries for appearing on it, depending on how big you are.
It's only 50 grand, but it's what it does for you when you come off there.
Exactly.
If in that game, it's the appearances that you get to do. Look at that, you read now.
Yeah, he did right. Yeah.
Harry was famous before that, but now.
Yeah.
And he got all the TV ads. He got the TV ads from it, didn't he? Do you know what I mean?
And he won it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to actually just be in it is good enough, but to actually win it, the publicity comes with that.
You've done you've been on the TV. The first one of the things that I saw when you first was the Jonathan Ross Big Talent Show.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, it was funny enough. There's a hotel in Blackpool called the Queen's, big one on the front, and God rest her soul, Mrs. Mancini and Raldi Mancini owned the hotel, and they used to put ITV people up there, and I just applied like you would for Britain's Got Talent, and done the audition, and it was the night where, I can remember it vividly, it was the night when Liverpool played Arsenal away, and Robbie Fowler got a penalty, and then told the referee it wasn't a penalty. If you remember that, you probably
I do.
I think it was Graham Poe. He went, no, you've got it wrong. I fell over, and that was the night I did the audition. And the fella Rob Clark was, and again, not in any way. You've got to be careful when you're on live. But he was a gay lad, but he was a funny gay lad. You know what I mean? And he was like. He said, "Oh God, you're the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life." And I said, "Oh, thanks very much, love." Anyway, the following night, because I didn't expect to hear for about 2 weeks, he rang me. Am I all right to say exactly what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's Mrs. Mancini, the owner of the Queen's. I'd gone out for a Chinese with all the crew. A bit like Simon Cowell and all them now. She'd actually gone out with all them for a Chinese after the filming and the auditions had been done. And he rang me the next night, Rob, and he said to me, can I ask you a personal question? I said, ask me what you like, Rob, I said, it's good to hear from you this soon. Obviously, me hopes were up that I'd been accepted. He said, are you shagging Mrs. Mancini? I said, pardon? I said, she's 72. and he went, I don't care. He said, he said, we've been out for a Chinese tonight, and all I've heard is Gary Skyner this, Gary Skyner that, Gary Skyner the other. And she actually said to me when we left the Chinese, if you don't put that lad on your show, you'll never stay in my hotel again. So get that through your head. So he said, so I like staying there because it's great if she's good with us. So you're in. And he told me the night after it was all down to Mrs. Mancini saying to him. And then to go on, it was like incredible, and talk about parachuting. Actually, doing a live show like that is the battle that takes. It's immense.
Was that a big ITV show? I don't remember. Was it a big ITV?
Very similar to Britain's Got Talent.
Right. Yeah.
Again, bad luck, Gary. If the entertainment business was the way it is now, then I would probably be way up here.
Yeah. It's
the next day that I'm good,
It's
everything that goes with it.
Yeah. And it's circumstances, isn't it? In situations like that, you in right location, right time, right. Some things are meant to be.
Exactly, and never cry over spilt milk. Just make the best of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it certainly propelled you to the next thing. It got you more work. It got you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's always on your CV.
Yeah.
It's another string to the bow.
What was Jonathan Ross like?
Do you know what? He was one of the nicest people I've ever met. A lot of people say he's not that nice. I didn't find it that way. Yeah. My young daughter, she was only 6 months old when we went down there. And Holly introduced me. She was my 6-year-old. And all he wanted, hey, gal, do us a favour. He said, I'm dying to suck Jessica's feet. And he said, I've just got this thing. He's got 3 daughters himself. And we're in the green room afterwards, and he's like, I've got to take these socks off. And he's like that, and he's rubbing it on the head. And he was just such a down-to-earth family man. He was fantastic. And put my daughter at ease. She didn't, when she seen all the cameras and the lights, she didn't want to introduce me, and it was all set up.
Yeah.
And I'll sort this out. And he went, right, 2 pieces of paper, come in my dressing room. So Holly goes in the dressing room with him, draws 2 pictures of a yacht, both of them. Of course, he comes out. Right, everyone, stop what you're doing. Here's the 2 pictures. That's mine. That's yours is the best. Well, of course, everyone goes, oh, yours is crap. It's Holly's, and she's gone. He said, it's a shame you won't be able to introduce your dad tonight. She said, no, I want to do it now.
Oh, wow.
I said to me, the genius, you're an absolute genius. No, by the way.
And she called him a nuthead, didn't she?
Yeah. She got more laughs than me.
But were those that the sketch was it the ones that you'd done the circuit or did you write material for it, or was it the ones tried and tested? You know it would have worked. Nightmare,
because I was doing a joke at this time about Skoda cars, about a Skoda. Stop! You can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? Well, we'd be sued. You know, you can't stay that late. Or what you call a Skoda with a sunroof, a skip, and things like that. You know what I mean? you just can't do it. You know, it's a stupid thing. I mean, I did a joke at the very end about a cat falling, going out the window of a high-rise flat, and I actually told the joke in the clubs as, if you had a cat and you threw it out the window, stop! You can't throw a cat. The cat's got to fall, you know. So the gag, but when you've been so used to telling it one way, and then you're live and the camera's rolling, and you're like, your brain's working at 500 miles an hour, and at the last minute they've told you cannot say you throw the cat out the window. You know, it's got to fall. Just stupid things like that, because that's why I keep asking you, is everything all right? You know, for me.
Well, we're not Jonathan Ross, you're all right.
No, I know that. At the same time, we could have people listed out there.
Nah, they're fine. They're fine. We've heard worse.
So, well, yeah, probably by me and him. But so they obviously your sketches then, didn't they? And
yeah, they give me a comic. A lad called Stu, who his stage name was, a Glaswegian lad, and his information, his coaching was invaluable, you know. And he just said to me, I know what your problem is there. He says, what you're doing, he says, you're going to do a gag that you would do on the clubs after a gag that is acceptable for TV. He says, and you can't do that. He says, so tell me your first gag. So I said, well, my first gag is about see what happens when you bite your nails. As we mentioned before we went on live.
Yeah.
And he says, right, so from now on, he says, what's your second gag? So I said, well, it's about buying a ticket at Liverpool Lime Street Station. He says, right, so your currency for your ticket now is rusty nails. So when you mention your nails, you will think rusty nails, and that's your currency. That's what you're buying your train ticket with. So as soon as you think rusty nails, you'll think, oh, I'm buying my train ticket with that. And you'll automatically say, all right, it's the joke about Chris Eubank and the train ticket. Honest to God, it works. It absolutely works. It's like just weird association. So then you look at Chris Eubank and something in that gag, and look at your third gag, and that will remind you of your third gag, and it works like a dream, honest. But not when there's like loads of cameras. Well, now, and if you cock up, you've had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, cause I was watching a show the other day. In fact, I was listening to a podcast about acts on the Royal Variety Show and trying to keep the act so you're not offending the audience in the Royal Variety. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Rather than your natural act. And they said it was David Jason doing Only Fools and Horses, and they had to try and just change and keep the idea, but change it so
it was accepted.
Yeah.
But I'm the cheeky bastard who'd walk out there and go straight to the robot. Liz, come on, where's my MBE, my OBE, or CBE? Come on. What now, Liz? Come on.
But I think that's the way society has changed with comics, comedians, and stuff. You can get away with a bit more now.
Yeah,
to a degree. And obviously, in the circuit, you've obviously learned your trade in the circuit, and I can imagine you've had to think fastly because you're probably going to get hecklers and drunks, and do you know what I mean? In your situation, and you've had to, do you know what I mean? And fire something back. But that's what you're renowned for, isn't it?
In that lies the answer to why we became a comic, because yes, I did get in fights at school. Yes, I tried my best not to let the school bully dominate you, but because I wasn't able to physically respond to people, I developed a quickness of wit instead to put them down.
Yeah,
I think the psychology of it started as a defense mechanism. The comedy, it was like sort of, hey, you give us your dinner money, and I go, what do you want dinner money for? With a mouth that's and all that, like, 5 years on you, you look like a taxi with the doors open, or whatever it was, and I'd just put them down, and then I'd get a good hiding, and get filled in, and still steal me dinner money, but at least I was learning how to become a comic.
You're doing it though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a great way to do it because most of the bullies I encountered in school were clever enough to come back with anything. They just hit you or do something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But if they've got a crowd, which they normally have, an entourage of shithouses basically who follow them down, and he or she looks after them, once you've made them look like a plonker to their disciples, it sort of takes them down a grade, you know what I mean? So...
yeah,
it's worked really well in the past, so thankfully no more.
But this just took you on to do other things. A motivational speaker is something that you do as well, and you've been into the prisons and spoken to some
I've
of the
about 40 prisons. Yeah, wow. I've done about 40 prisons, and in fact, I think I've seen Sam in one.
You've obviously done a good job on him because he's reformed.
It's the t-shirt. I'm
on the straight and narrow now, Gary. I'm on the straight and narrow.
Well, he's on the narrow.
I've done about 40 prisons, and I did. It was funny. We were on the A14 going to Cambridge, and I'm at the counter and I've ordered a sarnie and a cup of coffee, and this fella stood in an overall, stood up, covered in paint, and he went, "Hey, love, I'll pay for that, whatever it is, I'll get it." So I said, I'm thinking he's like feeling sorry for me, the way I look. And I said, "No, there's no need, mate." And he went, no. And he come over, he whispered to me, he went, "No, listen, you changed my life." So I said, "What?" And he went, "You came to our Nick," he said, "in Ipswich. And he said, and you said to us that the banks can't discriminate against us. And you put a bit of a funny in, and you said, go into the bank this time without the gun and the mask." and I said, "And give them a proper business plan. Tell them up front that you are an ex-convict and that you've got a criminal record, but you want to change your life. You genuinely want to do this." I said, and then it's up to them on a risk assessment whether they lend you the money, but they can't discriminate against you because of your past. And he said, "I did exactly what you said." He said, "And I lent £20,000 off the NatWest." He said, "And the reason why I'm covered in all this crap," he said, "I've just sold my first house that I bought at auction for 10 grand. Wow. He said, and I sold it for £38,000 after I'd done it up with my mates." He said, "Life of crime is now gone." He said, "and I'm on the second house now." So I spent 20 grand. I've already recouped that, and I've got £18,000 profit, and it's all down to listening to you. And I said, well, yeah, it was so uplifting to know that the spiel that I'd been coming out with, and it's true. I mean, why should I said to them, look at the day out there. It's at 4 o'clock. I'm going out the gate here, and you've punched some old woman in the mouth, or you burgled someone's house, or whatever you've done. I said, when I go and do a gig and I come home and I put that 200, 300, 400 quid on the dressing table, that's mine. I've earned that. I've earned that money. I've not stolen it from anyone. I can put my head on the pillow and not fear the bang on the door at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're going to live with that for the rest of your days. And you're here, hopefully, for 70, if the Bible's right. Maybe more. But you spend that coming in and out of a place like this, a lovely day like it is out there. I'm going out the gate at 4 o'clock. You're not. Yeah. I don't know how long you're in here for, each individual case is for, but there's no need to be here because you've got your physical abilities about you. And if I can achieve what I've achieved like this, why are you doing what you're doing? And I think it costs something like £72,000 to keep one prisoner in prison for a year.
Wow.
And if only one of them, like that lad, if it worked on just one, my fee at the prison was well worthwhile paying, because it actually had an effect. And for the first time in 10 years of doing motivational speaking at that time, I bumped into someone who I actually found out it had made a difference. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And this is what you've obviously. This is all in your book.
Yeah, all in the book.
And this book is You Can't, You Won't.
Yes, and it's excellently put together. It's a roller coaster for people who've read it, and if you look at the reviews online and stuff, it goes right in depth into how our disaster was originated in World War II in Germany, and how the drug that damaged me was originally meant as a torture drug for Allied soldiers. And for reasons better known to the German company that made it, Grunenthal, even though they were told what it would do and it would pass through the placenta and damage an unborn child, they still continue to sell it and market it. And still to date, out of the 3 culprits, the UK government who gave it a license, the distillers who actually, sold it, marketed it, but the inventor of it, the Germans haven't, and the German government haven't even said sorry. They haven't had that, and that's my next campaign is to take on the German government and to get them, albeit 61 years late for me, to actually get some type of justice from the country that damaged me.
Because you were the second victim in the UK, weren't you?
It's long been thought that I think I'm the first eldest Liverpool one. ITV. Right. Okay. ITV called me the second born to live to my victim, and Christ knows why. But the people who look after us, the trust fund, spitting the dummy out because because apparently there's 35 people older than me.
Right, okay.
ITV said he was the second born to live. So I would imagine their researchers had come up with that.
They just pulled it out the air, yeah.
Got with that until they put me in my place. So apparently there's 35 older than me, but I'm the eldest in Liverpool. Apparently.
Blimey. And
shit, well, you meant you 1 or 51. You suffered.
How many is there a number how many people were affected?
There was originally 505 born in the UK. 445 of us are remaining. The difference between the 505 and the 445 has been natural deaths and direct suicide, like hanging or drug overdosing or whatever, or taking illicit drugs and just drinking themselves to death because of the mental health side of things, not being able to cope with the physical disability. So we've seen quite a number of our community die off in 60 years prematurely. Yeah, and it's sad. It really. We've lost we've lost 10 over the last 12 months, which is percentage-wise is an awful lot. But you would expect that as we get older, obviously the mortality rate is going to go up, and sadly that is the case. It's going up quicker with us than it is with anyone else.
Because you did a couple of things a couple of years ago. You did like a hunger protest strike, and
I obviously failed.
Yeah, I was just going to say lockdown's not helped us. We're all struggling a bit with.
I'm the only person to be on hunger strike and put on 6 stone.
And you dressed up as a baby as well.
I went to the German company's UK offices in High Wycombe, dressed as a baby. It was amazing. They actually put I don't know whether they sent you the pictures. They actually put like a chemical toilet outside their offices with a ramp. They hadn't even done the research into what my disability was. So they put a ramp there in case. We've heard that this lunatic from Liverpool is on his way and he's disabled. So we'll just stick a ramp there, an electric toilet, so there was a lead coming out the office window into this toilet, which I went and stuck German, what was it? Like they have in the football where they got Carlsberg and everything behind the manager after the game. Since Sunday Times, the German government behaviour is reprehensible, and Grunenthal murderers, baby killers, and all that. And 2 security guards come at 4:30 in the morning, and this lad who come with us, who was filming for Granada, he shit himself. And he said, "Look, the security coming," and my mate Johnny was driving the van, said, "No, it's them that needs it, but he's lunatic," you know what I mean? So I've just and I'm banging on the window going, "Hey, pull the window down. Let's get a picture of you. Let's see your face." And, what's it all about? What's happening? And I went, "Are you Gareth? You fucking know who I am." And he said, this lad was saying to John in the van, he's a maniac, and he's nuts. He said, "Oh, he's certainly keen." And then at 9:00, the police turned up. Thames Valley police turned up, and the cop had become a ventriloquist, and because he was getting filmed by this lad, he's gone, "Now listen," I said, "I understand what you're doing and why you're doing it." I said, "But if you were my son, I'd be very proud of you." He said, "But for Christ's sake, don't do anything that means I've got to arrest you today."
Yeah.
He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to do nothing today, but if that toilet's still here tomorrow when I come back here, I'm going to set fire to it." And he went, But, he said, "What are you going to do now?" So I said, "I'm going in the toilet to get changed." So I've gone in the toilet. We're talking February now, February the 11th. So it wasn't warm. And I've come out with like a great big pamper on. And I think I've sent you the pictures of
I've got it. Yeah.
Sellotape to me saying baby killers and all that, with a great big baby's bottle under my arm and a rattle and a dummy. And as soon as the wind took the door, I come down the step, it's come sorry, that's it, we've got to go. So, and then we went and found the chairman's house the next day. Took photographs of the house and made him aware that we were coming back with maybe 40 of us to camp on his lawn, blowing horns and setting fire to having a bonfire in his garden and everything else. So we just caused mayhem, and it's had a big effect because they are talking to us now, but that's all they do.
Wow, to start, and it takes a long process. We know you work a lot with Rick. He helps you to do campaigns, and have you spoken to him much over lockdown?
Oh, he's well pissed off. He's absolutely cheesed off that he's not working, and he's 81 now, and he looks fantastic for 81. And he's ringing me with all these crap gags, and I'm going, Ricky, you've stolen off me.
Well, we were all at his do, weren't we? His birthday surprise do. Do you reckon he was surprised? Do you reckon it was he knew, or do you reckon he was totally surprised?
No, I don't know. It was a surprise, wasn't it?
Well, it was. It was a good night.
It's the first time I've ever known him have a shave.
Yeah.
And he looked very, very neat on the day, but I'll go along with it because I love him to bits. He's great. He's just mad. I mean, when we did the health campaign for the UK government, seriously, he said to me, right, we were on GMTV with that, and I think he sent you the footage this morning. And he said to me, listen, he said, right, lads, what I want you to do, go down there and you tell that Mike O'Brien, he was the Undersecretary for Health at the time, and Andy Barham, that if they don't do the right thing on the lead up to a general election, me and you are going to come and stand against them in their back garden in Leicester, in Mike O'Brien's back garden in Leicester, and we're going to call ourselves the No Arms, No Legs, My Arse Party. I actually went down there to Westminster and said to him that, and lo and behold, we were on holiday in Florida. That was November 2009. The phones were going like mad in the house where I was staying in January 2010. CNN, Radio 5 Live, all kinds phoned up. It's like the middle of the night over there. And they wanted an interview because the UK government had said that they were going to pay us 26.4 million. And it was all down to Ricky and the documentaries that he did on BBC and stuff. Because if he hadn't got involved, he's powerful. He's very, very powerful. And he's a very, very political animal. And he's been a fantastic help to me. And long may he live. You know, one of his brothers died recently.
Yeah.
Of COVID. And the other had survived. David died now, but survived. But they both had it. But he's just a gem. He's an national treasure, and he's a lunatic. That's why I like him.
That's it. I spoke to him the other week. He's chomping at the bit to get out, and hopefully he'll get his jab soon. He can Reed can get him out the house there.
Well, I think Rita would like to seriously get shot of him anyway. No, she said to me the other day. Don't be permanently, but
she said to me the other day. She said, "There's only so much Judge Judy I can watch."
Now the two of them. What did he say? God made them and he matched them.
Oh, funny. But honestly, you're a big red as well. What's your predictions? What's your predictions for the season? You got all your shirts there. What's your predictions for the season for Liverpool then?
This season, we fell away for some reason or other, and we were talking before we went live here tonight, and I think it all stems from the right-hand side, where Trent Alexander isn't the Trent Alexander that he was last year, and the lad is an unbelievable talent, but for some reason or other, he's not on it. Whether he's playing too much or he's got some personal problems, I don't know. But we're playing with that. We're not knocking it down with the confidence that we used to. We're thinking about it, and by the time we thought about it and played it, somebody's there. And of course, they all come and park the bus. Yeah. And what infuriates me is we get to the edge of the box with the big hitters like Henderson, Fabinho, Firmino, Alexander-Arnold, and we still want to push it sideways. If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the lottery. Yeah. And stick the foot right through it. I know that you lose possession and everything else, but some of these games are on. Like look at Man United beating last night, knife's edge, 1-0 for Pogba to score, for Pogba to even cover a few blades of grass is a miracle. Yep. Right. It is, you know what I mean? Seriously, he's a cheat as well. I mean, my bird was hoovering earlier the week, and Man United were playing. She knocked the telly, and he fucking fell over there. I'm not saying he's a diver or nothing, but he just, get warmed up, Paul. You're coming off.
So your book is out, and if you want to tell anyone where they can find the book or your social media to follow things that you do.
Yeah, if you lads would be kind enough to put it up on your blog, the better off coming through my website. I mean, you can buy it from Amazon. Unfortunately, I haven't got it in a tape form. What's the word?
Audio book.
Like an audio book.
Yeah. So I haven't done it in that yet, but it's I'm gonna say that because it's my book, but when you look at what I've done from behind the eight ball, it is an incredible story, and it's not someone. I mean, Mick Miller takes the piss out of the likes of Serrano fans, you know. He said I worked with him one night, and I said to him, "What?" He said, "Why do you climb mountains?" And he said, "Yeah, because it gives me excitement, and they're there. They're just there." And he said, "Well, why don't you do what we do and just fucking walk around them?" Yeah, he was gifted like Sagabusi is gifted physically, and all these other motivational speakers, but they haven't come at like from behind the eight ball. When everyone's wrote you off and said, "You'll never do this, you'll never do that, you can't do this, you can't do that." And to actually achieve what I've done, I'm very, very proud. And if there is a maker up there, I hope he's proud, because I can't wait for Judgment Day when he says, "Right, sit there. I've got a list of things I want to pull you about." I said, "Well, hang on a minute, pal. You fucking can't," you know.
I reckon what you get while tools are down, get Rick to do the audio version of your book. That'll be interesting.
That's great, and it's been a pleasure, lads, tonight, and thank you so much for giving me the airtime. Have we got any idea if anyone's been listening? Or?
Yeah, we've had up to 12 live, but I'll get all the details for you after we finish the live. So, guys, thank you so much to Gary Skyner for tuning in this evening. Gary, thank you as always. We'll see you in the future. Make sure you do go and buy Gary's book, available at Amazon, all other bookstores as well. Chris, as always, thank you so much for tuning in this evening.
I'm off to watch the Pembroke Murders.
Oh yeah, we like that. I've been like
that. And then there'll be the Egbert Murders if my beard gives me any abuse. No, I'm not like the other fella off the Visage adverts. I'm not a woman beater.
And on that bombshell, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you do follow us on social media. Come on, the Reds. Make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We will see you next week with another edition of the Sea Live podcast. Thank you so much, guys. Good night and God bless. Bye-bye.